Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to the grand final of the Korean StarCraft League, number 14. In the top left, spawning as our Blue Protoss player playing for DKZ, is herO. Who sends what? Oh, it's being proxy hatched. And in the bottom right, spawning as our red Zerg player playing for DKZ as well, opening up with a hatch on his opponent's natural. It's of course dark. There's very little players that would make it into a grand finals, and that would open up with a hatchery first on their opponent's base location. Quick response here coming out of herO, we do have to admit it, as he decided to open up with what seems like a 6 pro pool. No Zealot. I wonder if this is the correct call. There's a bunch of... there's different theories on how to fight this, and this is one of them. 6 worker, 7 worker pool, I've seen both. Second pylon is a little bit late. It's going to be built on the other side of the map. The reason why I say this pylon is very late is because it's not going to allow herO to start an adept the moment his cybernetics core finishes. Oh no! The hatch goes down again. How is this possible? What a blunder here out of herO. Completely failing the skill check over here. That is disastrous for his eco. Honestly, yes. It honestly is. Had to finish a pylon on the other side of the map, so didn't manage to force a hatchery on the third base location here. But yeah, this is definitely a disaster. This is a massive disaster here for herO. Starting early on. Speed starts relatively quickly here, as this pylon is going to get taken out. Cybernetics core block. Dark is also floating a decent amount of minerals. This is going to be one of those weird games where the general opening theory is fairly irrelevant, as, well, the Nexus isn't down yet. We're 2 minutes and 58 seconds into the game. We have a quick warp gate. Was the second gas taken? No, well, pretty late. It has only mined 40 gas at this point. Adept is in between the 2 bases, as speed requires another 50 seconds or so, I think, to finish here. No, another 35 seconds to finish, so that's also quite a bit later. Hatchery gets a rebuild in the main base. This entire opener here, out of dark, makes absolutely zero sense. I have no clue what the goal of this hatchery is. There is a robotics facility now on the way as a response. There's no natural yet for our Zerg player, who's down 7 workers, by the way. And it seems to me like this is going to be a Ling flood if these 2 adepts, however, manage to make their way back home. If herO does not lose them for free, I am finding it difficult to imagine a scenario in which herO doesn't just win the game in the next minute and a half. I just can't imagine him throwing this out of the window. He's up 7 workers. He's up a base, or well, he's up a base from what he should be. Usually Zerg is supposed to have 3 bases at this point. Adepts are not going to end up dying. Both of them manage to escape, as this adept in the wall together, coupled with the battery, should be enough. 5 roaches now get produced. The hatchery in the main is about to finish up. There's a robobay coming out as well. herO doesn't believe that this hatch is going to end up finishing, but if it does, it's not the end of the world, as he is going to have an immortal out. I'd love to see a battery in the main base, but then again, do you really need to? I mean, there's 2 gateways that can produce units at a high pace. An immortal is about to pop out, which should be capable of dealing with any amount of roaches. And you can't really start building links at a very high pace either, because you're just getting 1 larva at a time. Queen now gets produced, but in my mind, this game is practically over. The only thing that this roach could potentially do is cause a little bit of a distraction in the main base while the natural gets busted. herO is so confident right now in his position that rather than getting another fighting unit, he actually opts for a prism over here. 2 Ravagers should not be enough to clear this adept in the wall. And even if they clear the adept in the wall, there's still a sentry available as well. Super battery should be activated here right about now. Misses the biles. Well, hits 1 stalker. That's something, I guess. Immortal's going to show up. This game is absolutely over at this point. Disruptor already on the way. Where's that super battery? Well, we don't actually have enough energy. These links in the main are going to get taken out as well. This actually is feeling a bit more scary than it should be, but it still is absolutely zero scary. Prism will not end up dying. The super battery will heal it up a bit as well here. Does need to start moving the prism at this point. There we go. It's going to move that prism indeed. Doesn't have so many units though, as the disruptor shows up. It's not a great unit against such a low amount of opposing units, but it's still going to be absolutely fine. Ravager gets taken out, probes get pulled, 31 workers to 19. Dark calls out the GG, and herO wins a confusing game number 1 here on Dragon Skills. Now, confusing doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, it just means that it's different. And that situation most definitely was different. Very often I do feel like with Dark that his intention is to create chaos in the early game, and then he tries to get out ahead kind of from that chaos. He rises up as a phoenix from the ashes of the early game. This time that wasn't possible. Apparently he's not a phoenix at all. Or there wasn't enough ash. I don't know. Do you need a lot of ash as a phoenix? How does that work? What if the ash gets scattered? You know, the phoenix dies. Then there's wind. The ashes go everywhere. Does he just go? Does he does he get reborn wherever the most ashes are? Or does he get reborn in pieces and they have to find each other? Like, what's it called? Exodia in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have the different parts and you need to get them together to win the game instantly. Exodus? God, it's been so long since I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember thinking that having all... I think you needed 5 parts. The head and then the arms. Maybe you also needed a body. Not sure if there was like a main body. Exodia or Exodus. How did I get here? Phoenixes. Ash. There we go. Yeah. Dark often plays fairly chaotic. And then he'll need to find a way out of that chaos. And he didn't quite maneuver correctly there. So frustrating for him. Especially given that Dragon Skills is quite a good Zerg map. I think it's one of the most favored Zerg maps that often gets played in best of 3s. Like, it's a really, really good map for Zerg in my opinion. It's difficult to keep a fort base there. It's difficult to do anything as Protoss there. Aggression is not so great. It's hard to block your opponent's natural. So there's really a lot of things that are difficult and there's very little things that are good. What do we have over here now? Quick link speed coming in. 12 out of 79 right now. We have a Stargate. This is the one thing I'm a little bit disappointed by as of late. Is that I feel like a lot of the highest level Protoss players hardly play any glaives anymore. We sometimes see max packs still kind of shove it in there. It's like, oh, I want to be different. I'll play some glaives as well. But almost no one else does it. And it's difficult for me to say why that is. Because I feel like my glaive play often is better than my oracle play. But it could also just be because my oracle play isn't quite as good as these guys. Like, you look at herO, you look at max packs. Their oracle on the depths always freaking get damaged. Now went in for a pylon block. I'm sorry for missing that. No! Well, got the pylon block there initially, but failed the second round, which is actually fairly important. You can really give your opponents a massive bank with this type of play. There's a bunch of links that got produced off the back of this, though. Adept is going to die. Probe is going to die. 3 links went down. Hatchery got delayed. I'm not sure how great this was really for herO. It doesn't feel so bad. But it definitely doesn't feel brilliant either. So we're going to get 2 spores that will get produced. Now, I've been watching a lot of Dark games, and he really plays the early game fairly different from all the other Zergs. So where all other Zergs prefer higher queen counts, Dark prefers a higher spore count, which there's no one else that plays like this. He's like, you know what I can do? I can just build spores in single queen per base, and if I micro my drones, well, I shouldn't be capable of taking too much damage. Now, things really do kind of get tricky if you're out of position for just a millisecond with a queen, and just end up losing a couple of workers. Especially the double oracle dive-in can be really difficult for Dark to hold, as he often does not have enough queens to kind of manage the 3 bases that he wants to manage. 1 oracle is going to go home here. We'll save these adepts from a slow and painful death. Twilight Council gets started. What timing is this? 4 minutes and 7 seconds. So relatively quick. We'll see what his follow-up is going to be, as the larva does get sniped. It's not super useful. Oh! Tried to go somewhere, but does not quite end up getting there. Try to go into the 3rd base. Now, has 2 extremely low oracles, which sucks, to be quite honest. 5th queen is out now, so we have a 6th queen on the way as well. That is a significant force of adepts here. 4 adepts against 7 links. 4 more links are in production. And herO hesitated. That's going to give Dark more time to respond to this incoming threat. So Baneling Nest is coming out here. Now, this is a build that we've seen Dark play again and again and again. Is where he'll just start flooding links, pre+1, and then go for a Baneling Bust. It's going to be a glaive adept timing out of herO. This is odd. We're seeing 6 gate adept, 6 gate glaive adept. What timing are you going to hit with that then, buddy? Oh, it's going to be a queen walk as well. Now, theoretically, this is very good for herO, right? Yeah, I mean, you scout this as well. You see no queens at all. It's like, wait, where are the queens? Surely they're not marching. Oh, no! They're marching across the map. Who could have seen it coming? Well, me, because I watch a lot of Dark games. He does this quite a bit. 3+1, which makes this timing kind of funky, right? Invest a lot in that upgrade, an Evo chamber and everything. Would much prefer seeing a full wall with a pylon here rather than a battery. But this is what he's going for. Oh my god, the stasis of a lifetime. You can't actually be serious. What is it? He saw it happen right in front of his eyes. It's like, mate. No way. Now, there's still 6 gateways, which means there's plenty of production. If the pre-split is even remotely good here, there's absolutely no way that herO should lose this. And he can pre-split for sure. Like, he can warp in 6 more adepts. He's in a great spot right now. 53 workers against 50, as no damage has been taken at all here on the side of herO. Splits are a little bit slow to start. Banelings do get some connections. +1 has finished up at this point. herO knows he's held this push. Shades across the map and is going in for the kill, at least on these queens. And I think that might just be the correct call. Don't want to lose the Oracle here for free. That would be very silly and very sad. Nice target fire out of Dark. Still getting the best out of this bad situation. Takes out 2 more adepts for, well, for the 4 queens. Of course, it's not a good trade, but it's better than getting 0 adepts. 12 Banes are on the way. +1 air weapons. Robo Forge 6 gas. Okay. What is this? Yeah. Huh? I mean, but why? Why are we getting the air weapons? I don't understand. Is this going to go into like a triple Stargate Phoenix late play? Like, this seems genuinely quite bad. That micro was definitely quite bad. We have 6 more adepts being warped in. 12 workers just went down against what I assume to be a Baneling run by. I did not spot it, and neither did herO. I think Dark is getting back into it because herO is following this up with some debatable play, I guess I would call it. He's not teching into anything. He's just continuing this type of glaive adept attack, but it doesn't work if there's Roach Banes already. I think this is fairly well established. +1 on all those melee units is also not helping the case here for our Protoss player, as a bunch of these adepts are going to connect with the links. Do we have links to catch this? Yeah, we definitely do. This gets completely slaughtered. 2 drones end up dying. That was a lot of adepts. Resources lost pretty much even at this point. Supplies favorable for Dark. Okay, he's actually going into triple Stargate carrier from this. Why did he start his structure so late, though? I do not quite understand that. I do not quite understand that at all. We don't have a fort base on the way. There's a lot of cash in the bank waiting for the Stargates to finish. If Dark catches a whiff of this, uses his nose, smells this, it's like, you haven't built anything that's important or interesting or cool. Perhaps I should throw down a Spire. If he throws down a Spire, I mean, he has massive gas count. He could go up to 8 gas, 85 workers. He's probably actually in a very playable position, if not just basically ahead. +2 is now on the way for herO. Baneling speed. The longer Dark doesn't learn about this, though, the less likely it is he's going to be in a good position. Like, he needs to get some info. Okay, here comes that Overseer. Dark sees absolutely nothing this entire time. Like, he's practically blind, isn't aware of the fort base, isn't aware of any of the tech, isn't aware of the fact that his opponent has no units, an Immortal, 2 carriers, 2 sentries. Like, that's not an army. Here comes the Overseer about to pop in. Almost feel like warping in Stalkers here would be very useful. Well, it's just going to show the carriers instead. Is that an instant Spire here? Yeah, that's an instant Spire. Very unfortunate for Dark that it took so long for him to figure that out. Because ideally, he could have probably had Corruptors out by the time these first 2 make their way across the map. Now Dark needs to win some time, so he'll go and attack with Ling Roach while these carriers try to attack at the same time. Keeping those carriers at home is pretty vital. gas is not being taken yet. That is surprising. And perhaps even bad. Probably means he's looking for a major attack towards the middle of the map. There's not enough creep though to really support that. Constant queen production also indicates it. No extra workers, no extra gases. There is a 5th base. It's going to be +2 melee, corruptor. If this works, I'll be shocked. I really will be shocked. Like, Dark got destroyed this entire early game. He really stood no chance, it felt like. He scouted too late as to what his opponent was doing. The things that herO has been doing also made fairly little sense to me. Oh no, herO, you can't be serious. This is not the timing to move out, my friend. This is the time to sit at home and do absolutely nothing. Carriers are going to connect with a lot of these roaches. There is 5 carriers out, soon to be 6, 7, 8. Look at these guys. I mean, 8 carriers against 16 corruptors. That is going to be a good deal here for the carrier player. But herO does not need to attack. He's playing against someone on 6 gases. He's playing against someone that is all in. herO is outmining his opponent with the gases. Like, that is a huge freaking deal. It really is a huge deal. I'm glad that he's going back home, because otherwise it could get very nasty very quickly. Corruptors want to make their way across the map, but 16 corruptors against, what is it, 8? 8 plus 2 carriers. These are not just regular carriers, these are plus 2 carriers. I mean, in a fair world, the Protoss doesn't lose anything here. In a fair world. We're going to see how fair this world is. Oh, Ravager Biles do get connections. 1 carrier gets taken out. 7 carriers still alive, though. And 7 corruptors. Corruptor count is now equal to the carrier count. And this game has now kind of officially ended as well. Now we finally get the gases. I don't quite understand what the plan of Dark was here. I really do believe that even after scouting so late, if he just goes up to a high worker count, 85, 95, he can just play a proper late game. He's going to try it now, but I think at this point it might just be too late. His hive is late, that means there's not going to be Vipers. There's not going to be any infestors either, because the gas count is simply way too low. Spore walls are going to start too late as well, so you simply don't have the resources available to get everything that you need for the incoming max push, which herO definitely is going to shoot. He's going to do it with a mothership, he's going to do it with a bunch of Archons, we're going to see Immortals added in as well, we have Disruptors, like, herO is late game, okay? He is in the late game right now. He's in a different time period. Like, Dark is still fighting with a stick and maybe using one of them little catapults to throw the stones, you know? Like these handheld catapults, what do you call them? Slingshots, there we go. Not a catapult. A little slingshot to try and hit stones. And herO has a freaking gun, a sniper rifle. Pew! From long distance, and Dark is trying to hit the bullets with his stick, and it's just not going to work. It is simply impossible. Sticks do not do very well against bullets. +2 will not finish before this fight starts, but this fight will finish and this game will finish before +2 finishes. And it will finish in favor of herO here. It's the one thing I can guarantee. It is 16 corruptors against 6 carriers, but there's so much support on the ground. The Baneling count is not large enough without infestors, without Vipers. I think this is an unmanageable fight. I freaking love how Dark is doing this. His unit movement is, I think, the best in the world, like, period. The way that he always manages to find ways to delay his opponent's move out is fantastic. Here we see a Zealot army trying to connect with those links, but that's not quite working out for those Zealots. Once again, Dark is trying to set up a bit of a base trade here. Now a couple of Biles will hit the mothership. Tries to go back home, but yeah, there's just not enough Dark. Like, Dark is trying his absolute best, but you can try your best all you want. If you just have no army supplying, you don't have the correct units, it's not going to be possible. Archons are dancing in the bases. Disruptors are now being picked up for whatever reason, maybe wanting to go back home. Defensive Zealot Warpins, Immortals being built as well over here. GG gets called, herO takes the lead and puts himself on match point in this best of 5 grand finals. Game number 3 here on Grassvan. Ooh, no veto out of Dark. I know that he doesn't like this map quite as much. I kind of feel for him. I understand that. This does not feel like a great map for Zerg. I think initially people looked at it as not a decent map for Zerg, but the ability to so easily wall off this third area completely, like from top to bottom, basically. And having these 4 or 5 bases that you can defend from a single angle, that is super good for TOS. It really is. Double Adepts are making their way across the map right now. Metabolic Boost is about to finish up. 10 more links are coming out. Going to bring the total up to 14 links. Shows what you got, buddy. Shows what you got. 2 links here are trying to get in towards the natural, and they will. Ooh. herO with a fast response as he's shading back home. Will be forced to cancel this pylon and then build a 3rd base. This probe was already out on the way. 3rd base going to be going down at around the 4-minute mark. As a bunch of these links, they might have something to say about that. Maybe want to pylon over here to start that wall. Okay, builds it on the inside. Ooh. This is not a secure location. 2nd Oracle still about 7-8 seconds away from finishing. The surround on this particular position is good enough in my mind. There is a full wall in the natural that has been created. I think herO handled this as well as he could have. Has he killed anything on the other side? No, Oracle has remained practically useless. And this is going to cut into your tech timing as well, don't forget that. Being forced to warp in more adepts pre-Twilight or pre-Forge or pre-Robo, whatever it is you want to build, is definitely going to hurt. You have a 3rd Oracle on the way, so that tech was already going to be delayed. And now it is severely delayed. Look at that. 4 minutes and 33 seconds into the game, we start our Twilight Council, immediately adding in a Forge as well. What are we doing with these 2 Oracles? Well, taking out a couple of drones seems to be the answer. Here we go. Natural, natural, natural. Okay, 3 drones do end up going down. So the 3rd Oracle remains at home. This does feel like a very different type of setup for Dark for the first time. There's way more focused on kind of playing that macro game without being, you know, in cripplingly far behind. 2 more gateways. Blink. No +1 yet. It's cutting in workers in a pretty heavy way. Almost feel like he wants to add in more gateways here. Go up to 6 perhaps. This Oracle does get a stasis ward on a single drone. This type of stuff almost never seems to work against Dark, which is really quick with the responses. Doesn't really mess around often. 4 adepts looking to get a little bit of damage. I'm not a huge fan of how herO has been playing this game so far, and I am a much bigger fan of what Dark has been doing if you compare it to the other games. Just a very kind of solid and safe early game here, making sure that he can't mess it up. Rather than being aggressive in the early game, he just plays it in a way where he's in a fine position. He already starts his link production now. Off of 53 drones, as he's lost another 6 here against these adepts. That is kind of painful. Total workers lost is going to go up to 12 right now. But at the same time, a lot of units have died. 7 adepts and an Oracle. I'm just sad for Dark that he's built so many links. And once again, he finds himself in a pretty poor position, honestly. What he needs to do right now is stay low gas, continue droning up, and then take it from there and see where you can get. Not a single queen in the main base! What are we watching here? 2nd Evo chamber. This will be a transition into Ultralisk, most likely. Dark has multiple ways of getting out of a pickle. Okay? He has seen multiple ways to... I've seen him try and get out of a pickle. First of all, how did he get into the pickle? That's the question that I always want to ask myself. Pickles aren't that large. Get yourself in a pickle. I don't know where that comes from. I guess when you say he got himself into a pickle, they talk about getting into pickle juice, which would be quite sour, which probably would not be bad. Would not be good. You take like a bath in pickle juice. I think that would... You know, your skin would be deteriorating at a pretty high pace. Was this like a realistic scenario in like the 1600s? Like, oh no, I fell into a bathtub of pickle juice again. Like, ah, oh, darn it. Another good man lost. It seems very unrealistic to me. Who made this expression? And who were the people that followed it? You know, it's like, oh, that makes sense. He definitely is in a pickle here. Yeah, so this is... Oh, it's actually not going to go into ultras. Usually when I've seen him play double Evo like this, with a very low gas count, the follow-up often was into an Ultra Cavern, but as he's adding in range, I don't actually know what it's going to be. It could just be Ravager, Ling, Bane into Lurkers. He is a huge fan of the Lurker as a unit. This Prism is trying to deal some damage. I'm not a huge fan of the style that herO is playing here. Well, I'm not even quite sure if I can call it a style. He's actually just pretty much setting up for a 3-base all-in here. Double Robo Colossi, double Forge. He's adding cannons because he knows Dark likes to all that pretty much base trade. Vipers are going to be out in time though. That means that there's a massive timer here on herO. And it feels like that timer has pretty much ran out already before the attack even starts. Like, the early game was not bad. Actually, the early game was quite good. But the herO, I don't quite understand this follow-up. I'll put it like this. I'm not super familiar with this particular follow-up, but in this situation, it feels like he gave his opportunity a lot of time to come back, which I don't quite understand. Now, there are no Banelings, which is definitely a positive. Look at his Ling Run. This is typical Dark. This is Dark in a freaking nutshell. Viper's actually not in position at all. What are these Lings doing? Nothing at all whatsoever. They're just kind of chilling as herO says, hey, mate, you don't have anything. Let's go. Let's dance. Ground weapons level 2 about to finish up as well. Here comes the Prism pool in. No more Warpins here for herO, but herO has a crap ton of supply at the moment. Does also have a lot of money and can't use it. Oracle's going down at a high pace. Lynx and Roaches connecting with these Colossi. And does feel like that herO is going to get cleaned up. That Prism snipe was freaking huge. If you get another 10 unit warp in here, I think the game will most definitely end. Imagine 10 more Zealots with +2 attack and +1 armor, just more warping in straight into this fight. That would have been great. But now, with Dark having a little bit more time, having the ability to get Adrenal Glands, maybe even capable of going into Baneling speed, I would say, I think Dark is fairly far ahead. I mean, the supply pretty much tells the tale at this point. That was a very ballsy engagement out of herO as well. He just freaking went in. He went ham. But it didn't work out. And it's still 4 base, 72 workers against 3 base, 64 workers. Main is most likely running out already. This amount of Stalkers looks good, but there's so many Links with that Adrenal, with that +2, that I'm not entirely sure if you can ever really stand and fight. The Roach count is fairly high too. I think Disruptors are probably the only solution from here on out, like double Robo Disruptor production. I mean, you have those Robos. Probably should try and use them if the Ling Bane count isn't that large. And as I say that, I see 16, 18 more Lings in production. A couple of Banes being morphed as well right now. Immortal's gonna join as well for Banter. As, what is this? Oh, double Baneling. Runby could be heading towards the third. Could also just be heading back into the fight, of course. Roaches are connecting with these Stalkers. Inferior upgrades for the Roaches makes it a little bit scary still. The Link count is only at 16, and here comes herO microing. This is off creep, and he's doing a fairly good job. There's a lot of cash in the bank right now for Dark. 1,200 minerals. That's a lot of Links that could have been added in here, but he does not have the larva available. Queens have gone back home to inject, I do believe. There's a macro hatch in the main base. You have more queens being produced as a way to spend money. Here comes a blink in out of herO. Zealots coming in, and this might be it. He might be winning the grand finals of the Korean StarCraft League number 14 if Dark does not manage to hold on over here. These Stalkers do get pushed back. Where's the Prism? Still pretty much in the dead space. Can we get another warp in over here? Yes, we can. 7 drones have fallen. The low ground here is a scary place, though, because these drones are mining from a base that isn't really defended. Dark continues chasing as 4 more queens are in production right now. The overall queen count at the moment is only 2. 62 workers to 64. This is a continuous fight for the past 3.5 minutes, it feels like. Perhaps the low ground here is going to be a possibility to just kind of relax under. Yeah, with the vision of that observer, you can kill maybe a bunch of workers for free, force these bad boys away. Although the real problem for Dark isn't actually the money. The real problem for Dark here is the larva. So losing a bit of mining time is not the end of the world. And any time that he does end up winning is great because he's so close to +2 for range. He's so close to +3 for melee. Queens now coming in. Couple of transfuses are hitting. Good control on those Roaches. Target fire on the Archon so that the Links become more useful. Doesn't seem like a great move if you have only Roaches, but if you have 10, 12 Links and there's no Archons, these Links are going to absolutely rip those Stalkers apart. Archon is being zoned away from the Links. This has been some very good control out of the Zerg player, who is most likely going to be taking this game and get himself on the board here. Yeah, GG gets called. 61 army supply versus 11 in the end. The 3-base push of herO almost worked, but not quite, despite his fabulous early game. Sad starting game number 4 here for herO, as he does not manage to quite get the hatchery block on the other side of the map. God, I really want herO to play something that isn't Oracle. Now, I do like that he has many different follow-ups from the initial Oracle opener, right? It's not like he's some absolute one-trick pony that just sits there and 3 Oracles, 4 Twilights, let's go. No, it's like he has a diversity in his builds. Pretty big diversity in his builds. A lot of different build orders. I enjoy watching that. But I freaking watch loving good players play glaives. I think it's so much fun. When you have good players playing some glaive builds, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. That does make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I hope we're gonna see some glaives. Because the movement of these top players with glaives is freaking cool as well. It's like they know exactly when they should be finishing their adepts, when they shouldn't be finishing their shades. They look at a situation and I'm like, yeah, perhaps we shouldn't finish this. They look at a situation like, okay, that's a free win. They finish it, kill 12 drones, lose half an adept, kill 3 more queens on the other side. New warp in, bam, multitasking everywhere. Start dancing their units, putting sprays on the map. Pause the game, throw a bottle of water at their opponent. Glaives is so cool. People that play glaives, I think, are cooler as well. Like generally, it's a little bit more spontaneous, you know? Oracle, it feels kind of safe in a way. You know, you get full information, you know what you're doing. Glaives is more like closing your eyes and jumping into the deep, you know? There might be a shark there. There might not be, because you're swimming in the Netherlands and you don't really have sharks. Maybe there are some sharks. Nah, no way. I think sometimes we get like a lost big animal. I don't think sharks ever come here though. Maybe like I don't think a lost whale either. God, I know so little about these things. Freaking hate that stuff. Should be more knowledgeable about the general things. Yeah. Have we ever had a lost shark in the Netherlands? I don't think so. So I'm gonna Google after this game. I'll keep you guys up to date. If you want to know if there's ever been a shark in the Netherlands, be sure to stay tuned. You'll get it at the start of game number 5, unless I forget again. It's also possible. Okay, it's going to be an Oracle here, with a 3rd pylon in the main. What is this wall? Yeah, all right. Something went slightly wrong here. This is not optimal for a wall. And if he ever gets Baneling bust, the Banelings will be capable of killing 2 pylons at the same time, and the adept as well. Like you're really hitting a massive target there. Maybe it's bait though, you know, saying, hey, come and hit me with the Baneling, and boom, then you're prepared for a Baneling bust. It's also possible. Zest used to actually do this. Zest would build an absolutely terrible wall, and it looked like he would be playing greedy, trying to bait out like a Link flood. Now, the really fun thing about Zest was that even when he would bait out a Link flood, he would still die against the Link flood because the wall was so bad. So, these Zerg players, the good Zerg players would never Link flood because they would give him too much credit. They're like, okay, Zest made a really weird wall. Surely this is some type of mind game that he has prepared and he knows perfectly how to defend the Link flood. They have like a 5.6k Zerg player. It's like, oh, that wall looks crap. Let me Link flood it and just win the game. It's like 65 MMR away from Zest. It's not going to be the case here, as we have just a couple of links heading over. Overlord did get taken out. That means no more scouting info. 5 Overlords at the same time. That's going to double the amount of Overlords he has at once. When's the last time you saw a Protoss do that? Loses a spotting pylon and builds the... I don't want to be supplied for the rest of the game. Let me just build 7 pylons now. It's like, no, that doesn't happen. Zerg players don't really care about stuff. These adepts need to target single links. Did not quite do a very good job there. 2 adepts now moving in towards the natural as well. And these 2 adepts finish their shade in the 3rd. These 2 bad boys will end up dying. The ones in the natural get 1 worker kill total. That is not enough. That is not enough quite yet. Follow-up is going to be Fleet Beacon Stargate. This is a really cool follow-up. I think this is genuinely quite good. I don't know if you want to hide this or if you want to move across the map. But this is super late layer play out of dark. Look at this. We're 5 minutes and 45 seconds in, and he hasn't started a lair despite having the cash available. Almost feels like he's going for another one of them Ling Bane bust. I mean, understandable if you take a look at the way this wall looks, but I am kind of afraid here for Dark. He's down in workers. He's going to be down in tech by a significant amount. I think he will play low gas initially as well, because his plan is to get a lot of links out. I mean, this is just a fairly bad situation at this moment. Adepts running away from their responsibilities. Killing these links. Oracles come in and clean up the mess that they made. Here comes the Baneling boss. Let's take a look at the first person out of herO. This is herO. Puts the forge in a weird way. Sends 2 adepts around. It's going to continue harassing with more and more adepts, trying to move them in. He's going to get a couple more kills. I mean, he's in a good spot economically. Sees no drones here. Sees no gases in here. Does see a second Evo. Now a bunch of links are coming in towards your natural. Baneling's moving in on the mini-map. He's not paying attention because he's busy harassing. And he's like, hey, wait a second. What? Didn't work. Actually can't be serious. I thought this was a good call as well, though. I really thought it was nice. Okay, this went freaking terrible for Dark. Holy crap. This is World's worst fight that he could have taken. He's so far behind again. 2 carriers are out. Spire starts just now. Just now going up to 6 gases, adding them in. Look at that. Like, this is chaos, destruction. He's been deceived here. Forward base is on the way for herO already. Who's also adding in a Twilight Council, is adding in a robotics facility. He's getting his +1 attack. And Dark is lucky that carriers literally have no speed. Otherwise, these guys would already be blasting stuff over here in the forward base. Overlord gets taken out. herO's respecting his opponent too much here. He should have moved across the map quicker, I think. Said, hey, I don't think you're ready. Because Dark wasn't ready. +1 carriers do pack quite a punch, even if it's only 2. Targeting down that low queen will not quite get it. Will be forced back home. Spire is basically done at this point as the spores have finished up. 75 workers for Dark against 68. More adept shading in should be cancelled. Will be cancelled. What's the adept lost count here? 12. What's the drone lost count? 17. 53 links have also died. Another Overlord does get sniped. These carriers right now just functioning as basically a massive phoenix. Just taking out the Overlord and denying some vision with my capital ship. 4 corruptors are being produced. Dark was supply blocked. He couldn't quite add more. Dark just gets supply blocked, builds 8 Overlords, gets supply blocked in like 2 minutes after, and then builds another 8 Overlords. That's his way of dealing with it. Seems to work though. 2-2. Or sorry, +2, +1. Coming out. No upgrades for the corruptors though. This is such a scary moment for the Protoss. Like the first big influx of corruptors, that's the scariest moment for the carriers. If you survive that, you're usually going to be just fine. So herO will be heading back home. Like even now, these corruptors can just kind of fly in and start sniping you. If they have like 16 corruptors, Dark's going up to 18. Still no upgrade. Has a very low drone count for the style that he's, I guess, trying to play. It's gonna need a 5th base at some point and go up to 96, 97 workers. Ideally would have been there already. Oh, here goes the Zealot. Prisma gets taken out. Corruptors make their way over towards the main base as well. That's 18 Corruptors. Yeah, they're looking for snipes. I like this play. Could probably actually get a Nexus kill here. We'll go for the Templar Archives instead. That's a lot of... What did you recall? What did you recall? Not the carriers, right? Carriers with an Archon. That's going to be 1 carrier's death. Maybe 2nd carrier's death. Maybe 3 carriers. Dark is going to commit here to the play. Gets 3s. 4? No, I don't think it's possible. 4 HP remaining. That was a bad trade, I think. 12 Corruptors for 3 carriers. Let's get the Templar Archives as well, which is nice. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that was it here for Dark. I think after he sniped 1 or 2, it would have been good to move out. He stayed slightly too long. It's so difficult to make that call, though. To empathize with that. Ultra Cavern is on the way. Oracle's perhaps in some trouble. These Corrupts just flying around without a Viper is kind of wild. Lynx looking for damage. Walls out of herO have been, well, fairly mediocre. It doesn't really have full walls anywhere. That means that Lynx can always sneak in. These bad boys are just going to straight up run by. I'm sad that Dark showed that. If he hadn't showed it, I think these Lynx would have been capable of dealing some serious damage. Taking out infrastructure here would have been great. Now a bunch of Lynx are going to end up falling and they get tagged, making it harder for them to come back later on in the game. That was such a good play as well. Ultra Cavern has finished up. Chitin is plating on the way. 6 Ultras as well coming in. Now do note that because Dark has such a uncharacteristic for Zerg low drone count, that his army is bigger than Protoss might expect. So a straight up engagement, like a one-go fight, which you usually would not want to take as a Zerg. Usually you use Corrupt or Viper over longer periods or Infestors. This time it might actually work. There's no real army comp that deals well with the Ultras either. Like I said, it's going to be 6 Ultras. If there's any amount of Banes in this comp, that would be great as well. But we don't even have Baneling speed yet, so I don't think we're going to get any Banes. And if you're fighting against 16 Zealots, I think Banelings generally are quite good. What's even better though is just busting in with all those Lynx. This is going to force an all-in here out of herO. I mean, he's going to lose absolutely everything. Recall is not available yet. It is available now. Can you really go back home and play from there? I don't think you can. Archon Immortal comes in with as a harassment squad, I guess. Ultras will clean up these Zealots. That's the beauty of the Ultra, of course. Now, he did get some Archons back at home. More infrastructure is being taken out. The natural for herO has been completely breached, and everything that was ever there has been taken out. Dark kind of commits here. Will get a bunch of Archons, loses some Ultras though, and takes out, I think, 2 out of the 3 carriers. I honestly believe that the moment Baneling speed finishes up here, this game just ends. Like, Banelings would be such a huge bonus to have at this moment, to deal with any potential Zealot run-bys, but also just as kind of like a way to get the attention away from the Ultras, right? Banelings always coming first. That means that the Immortals will be shooting them, and then they explode on top of the Immortals, bursting their shields. Dealing some damage to the Archons as well is always going to be good. Dark is just planning on base trading forever, though. Dark doesn't want to fight this army. He says, hey, I'm outmining you. Why would I be fighting your army? That makes no sense. You know what does make sense? Me killing all your buildings in your main. Lol. Single Archons being warped in. That's a lot of freaking Lynx going in. I don't think all of them should commit here to the play. No, he's going to run out with half of them. Forcing back his opponent's army as Corruptors continue kind of just looking around for something. These Lynx will find these cannons and batteries. Oh my god, Adrenal Glands are so powerful. Almost out DPSing a battery, but not quite. One Ultra there, though, would definitely make a difference. Baneling dusting also definitely makes a difference. I still think that Baneling speed would be a good investment, but perhaps not even necessary here. Final carrier gets taken out. Ultra still alive as well. Banelings get connections with 3 cannons, a couple of these batteries. And here come the Ultras. Here come the Ultras. But going in, Zealot Warpins are just not going to be sufficient here anymore. And with these Lynx moving in to finish the job, I think that herO is just in quite a bit of trouble. Like, you can't set up more cannons here anymore because there's not enough cash, you know? So even if your base is alive, you're now forced to all in, I think. I actually do believe that. Lynx and Ultras do try to make their way across the map. A bunch of Ultras are going to end up falling. The army of herO is kind of ferocious. 7 Immortals, 8 Archons. There's no Infestors. There's no nothing that can really deal with this army. herO, I think, should continue attacking. I think moving back home right now would be an enormous error. Really, just an enormous error. He's just giving his opponent way more time, despite being consistently outmined for the past few minutes. I mean, main base is gone, my friend. You're not going to be capable of expanding. And if you're not walling your natural, you're never going to be capable of holding that. Uh-oh, Zealots are getting slaughtered here by these Ultras. 8, 9, and 3 kills, respectively, on these bad boys. Yeah, and herO just lost like 30-40 supply. He also killed 30-40 supply, but his opponent is way quicker at replenishing that. So that was a bad trade. On top of that, you're giving your opponent time to get into that Greater Spire, which is going to be a potential game ender here. Vipers added into the comp as well. Blinding Cloud or Abduct. I think we're going to go with a couple of Abducts first. Wouldn't mind one Blinding Cloud. That's not even going to be necessary, though. Ultras are absolutely ripping these Immortals apart. Links coming in as well. There is no Storm with this composition. So these Links are going to be good until the massive Archon Force shows up. But it's already too late. Immortals in the front tanking the damage is not what you want. One of these bad boys with the big guns in the back will take out a couple of these Ultras, but there's still just too much income here for Dark. There's too many larvae. The main base of herO is being taken apart. Can't even produce anymore. GG gets called. Dark ties up the series with a 2-2 score and will be heading in to the match point of this best of 5 grand finals of the Korean StarCraft League, number 14. Alrighty, final game between Dark and herO here. As this time, another Stargate. Who could have seen it coming? Not me. And did manage to block. Ooh, it's going back in. This is the play. This is the play. Look at this. Bow, 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 bow. Tried to do this earlier. I can't recall on which map. It's not going to succeed, though, this time around. Slightly too late with that probe. Did get some good info, though. Something as well. Nothing to scoff at. Now, let's have a look at what this probe is actually planning on doing. Let's try to go into the natural. Does not quite get the read there. It's going to be pissing off back home. So third pylon now gets constructed. As the first Oracle starts as well. We're up to 2 adepts that both get sent across the map. I think Dark spots that. I wonder what the optimal play here is for the Zerg player. Probably getting 10-12 links. That's what he's doing. Opening up with these spores as well. Really curious how Dark is going to try and make all of this work. See, pops into a pretty decently sized supply block. Oh, I promised the shark in the Netherlands. I completely forgot about that. I'll tell you at the end of the video, I swear. Links are going to get a connection here with some of these adepts. This is a bad spot for an adept to be in. Oh no. 2 adepts get taken out. I think 6-7 links do end up falling, and 1 Oracle uses up all of its energy. This is a pretty poor start here for herO. I think one of the worst starts that we've had so far. What is this drone doing? Oh, managed to escape, moving towards those queens. What is over here, though, is absolutely nothing. Not a queen in sight. As 3 workers do get taken out, and a 3rd Oracle gets produced. We're going to see some heavy investment here into that early game harassment. Another set of adepts gets sent across the map as well. Looking for kills. Are they going to get what they're looking for? Or have they still not found it? No shot, he finishes it. Like legitimately no shot. Yeah. It's no way. It's impossible. I don't think you can do that. Forged Twilight Robotics Facility. Very fast robo compared to all the other games. Don't think that was quite as quick. Perhaps herO is going to be playing something along the lines of a quick Templar Archives. Maybe Charge first, in that case. This does not feel like a Blink build to me. It really does not. Hello? 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 It's no +1, no nothing? Okay, it's gonna be a Templar Archives and Charge. Okay, there we go. And this really fits well into what I believe is a decent counter to Dark style, which tends to be focused on lower drone counts, late roaches, and heavy usage of links. Both Storm and Archons are absolutely fantastic against that type of style, especially if you can hide it for long enough. If you can hide what you're doing for a long time versus someone like Dark, yeah, that's generally going to be a good thing. What else do we have set up here? Not so sure, actually. 6 gases already, no 4th base. 26 links coming out right now. It's going to be some type of Archon drop. He's warping it at a slow pylon. It's lacking 1 Templar as well here. Which is kind of sad. It's hitting freaking late. Let's face it. Immortal gets chronoed, and indeed the 4th Templar gets warped. I mean, I like this spot a lot for herO, because we don't have a very quick drone count to 85, 82, 83. Like anything above 80 I think is really dangerous. Dark seems to not be super fond of that. Dark seems to be a lot more fond of going up to 74, 73, 75, and then playing with a heavy amount of links. As Archons are so good against that. This is nice harassment with these Oracles as well. I'll immediately say that. I love that stuff. I really think that's good. Prism is out and about, looking for some damage. Is he going to find it? Don't know. 7 Overlords on the way. 4 Archons, 1 Immortal, +1 attack. 7 minutes and 31 seconds into the game. I don't think this should do any major damage, but it could have an impact on the creep spread here. It really could have an impact on the creep spread. And if you don't have any creep spread, taking a 5th base can be really difficult on a map like Altitude. Oracle does get blasted. More and more creep is being taken out. herO, is he looking to commit here? Perhaps he is. Perhaps he is. Zealot's coming in with a flank as well. That was really useful there. Taking away some of that damage that otherwise would have gone onto that Immortal. Immortal now still going ham. This does feel like a slightly losing fight at the moment for herO. Or does it? No Glio Reconstitution. herO with another big warp. And what's the gate count? It's at 10. I hadn't quite seen that. I thought it was 8. 10 is going to make a bit of a difference. 2 more Zealots. I misjudged this fight completely, and so did Dark, I think. Dark thought that if he has a good pre-split, if he has a nice concave, he can fight this with his roaches. But he couldn't. He simply couldn't. And herO saw that correctly. He just jumped in there, charged in, now is taking out worker after worker after worker. Archons being warped in aggressively. That's a sign. Basically showing that you know that you have time, that this push is going to take a little bit longer here, that you can continue to attack. That's what herO believes, because it doesn't give the instant gratification of the Zealot, you know. A little bit of cannon fodder, but still very good cannon fodder to have instantly. This Immortal is going absolutely bananas. 12 kills, a lot of that is going to be links, but there's going to be a couple of roaches in there as well, of course, as it continues to dish out more and more damage. Getting its 13th kill right now. There's still 4 Archons remaining. The Zealots are going absolutely ham on this Extractor. I think this 4th base is going to end up falling. What are these Zealots doing? I don't know. But they're not really helping out in the fight. +1 armor has finished up as well. It does feel like this is pretty much the end of the push, is it? Archons are dying. +1 and Glio has finished up. Drones are coming back, perhaps to the rescue. Maybe some hold position micro could help. No matter what happens, this 4th base will fall. No matter what happens, herO is in a fantastic position. 2nd Stargate Fleet Beacon as a response here. Has 2 Immortals still at home, but he full walled. And as a result, will not be capable of doing very much with that. If these Immortals had joined the fight at any point during this game, I think the fight would have definitely tipped into the favor of herO. But he tried to play it safe by full walling. Now we'll be going into a quicker 4th base while probably trying to keep some type of map control here with this Prism. Adrenal Glands is on the way, but this is a sad situation here for Dark, who is on his last legs. I do not believe that there's a very solid way forward here for him. He's on 5 gases, no gas bank, no real tech, just sitting on roaches, which are already being countered by 4 Immortals right now. Baneling count can never grow. There's like 5 different things that herO can do, and I think all of them will work. Like, there's no counter to the ground army. There's no counter to the air army. There's no counter to storm. There's no... Like, a push right now would probably kill Dark. A push in a minute would probably kill Dark. And a push in 3 minutes would probably kill Dark. And if herO does nothing, he's really far ahead going into a late game. So, no matter what herO decides to do, it is a call that is probably good enough to win the game. Of course, there are correct calls to make. There are things that he could do to increase his chances of winning the game, or to lower his chances of defeat. Because he can, like, he's won the game already. He can only lose it, basically. Like, he really needs to mess this up in order to lose it. He's scouting with this Prism, which I like. He's checking the gas count as well, saying, hey, how many gases do you have over here? What's the drone count everywhere? It's gonna head back home. He's probably gonna wait for at least 2 rounds of carriers here. So the first 2 have already finished. +1, +2 for ground. I mean, the Immortal count being this high is actually kind of big. He's gonna go up to maybe 5, maybe 6 even. He's just gonna start moving out on the map, or at least clearing this watchtower. Like, the only thing that could really kill you is if you move out and you lose maybe like 30 probes to Baneling run-bys, and then you can't quite kill. That could be the one scenario in which I see herO lose. Like, a Baneling run-by killing 25 to 30 workers, I think could be detrimental. I still believe that herO would be ahead if we take away 30 workers right now. I still believe that the incoming push would be too much. It really would be. And you could probably just reproduce. You're still on 8 gases as well, so it's not the end of the world, but it would make this situation harder to play. It would make this position harder to play. Zealots coming in from the left side. Archons coming in from the left side. This run-by is cool, but it's not going to hit in time. It absolutely is not going to hit in time. There's nothing to deal with the Zealots either. There's not enough links. There's no Banelings. Yep. Run-by army needs to come back home, and that was really the only win condition that Dark had. You know, if he gets a lot of kills, maybe. If herO takes a terrible fight, maybe. But none of these things are happening, so that maybe perhaps turns into a no here. As the Ravagers trying to get the connections. Does pile down one carrier. Surprisingly, actually. Very surprisingly, these Ravagers now trying to run back. Here comes the run-by into this base. The Banelings do get... they get left in. Oh, get let in and they connect with nothing. Walking past the Archons. Couple of workers do end up falling. Maybe one. No. That's not quite it. Poor Dark got so close there to at least having some big hits. It would have definitely helped his position in this game. I mean, he's still just relying on his opponent A-moving or move commanding his army. Accidentally. We now have a secondary infestation pit. The first one must have died then. Yeah. So he wants to go into infestors, which is actually kind of a sensible play. Maybe with some neural parasites on Archons, you can win this, but I mean, I'm just not seeing it happen. Like I said, herO really needs to seriously mess up his next few attacks. Not just this attack. Like, he could mess up this attack completely. Just A-move it across the map. Probably win the game. But even if he doesn't, then he needs to mess up 2-3 more attacks in a pretty massive way for Dark to have a chance. Because he just doesn't have the eco. He doesn't have the tech. He has nothing. He literally has nothing. Baneling count is not high enough here either. As Biles are raining down from the sky, getting okay connections, but not good enough. Ravagers have to fight Archons now. That's the fight that they don't want to take. Blink forward. More Biles coming down, not quite connecting. As the carriers are simply unchecked here. There is 0 anti-air here in this army. Dark will be forced to tap out over. He's trying his best with these Ravagers, but it's not going to be enough. GG gets called as herO is your Korean StarCraft League number 14 champion. Woohoo! All right. Sharks. Sharks in the Netherlands. The North Sea is home to several shark species, such as the basking shark, the blue shark, and the spiny dogfish. They are commonly seen along the Dutch coast and the Oosterschelde estuary. Are there great white sharks in the Netherlands? It's a question. Great whites are not usually seen in Dutch waters, as they tend to be colder than the shark can tolerate. Oh, that actually was pretty interesting. Thanks for that, sharksider.com. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.